Okay, so I would like to be able to, part of the circle operations is to be able to draw. In my case, I will say uh, system out dot print line. Don't despair, in the second semester we will be able to draw this in real graphics. But for now, kind of pretend that we're drawing. So so the radius is, and I will print what the radius is. Okay, so the radius is something which is part of the circle implementation. Most likely private, I'll use an int, it could be a double or float, but I'll use the radius. And I'll show you something we already maybe discussed to some extent, but for now, just to make it more realistic, I will say constructors. And constructor is an operation that allows us to effectively initialize what we're doing here. So I'll say radius and initialize my radius here. I'm not explaining how constructor syntax works. I'm just hoping that it's intuitive enough to say that if we have this, what's going to happen is that 35, which I'm passing to the creation of my circle, will be this particular variable here, and at the time of creation I will be able to initialize my radius with this particular value, 35. Okay, so it's just that to make it more natural, I will write the constructor instead of writing some other method to set the initial value. So the implementation of a square should be very similar. Save that. Quickly say new class again and say square. Square finish. All right. So doing some very similar work. So we'll say private int side, right? And again, constructors, square takes int sd as a side and initializes it to that value. So when I move it to, you know what, I should be able to drag and drop right here, right? Right. Okay, so I have my square. So when I create a square and pass 15, 15 will be passed as SD right here, and the private member of square will be initialized. Good. Then, of course, it needs to be able to. Oh, by the way, one thing I always forget to say is that constructors should also be public, so that we can construct our objects. If they're not, you will not be able to construct them. So this is a constructor again. It should be a routine kind of thing for you to do. These are operations. All right, public draw, same thing. I guess we will sort of like print what we did with the circle. We'll say print square side is, and it'll print not radius but the side. Right here I'm using side. I apologize for running out of space. Sometimes when I run out of space, I hit enter and print things on the new line so we can see what's going on. Okay, because compiler really doesn't care. Agree? compiler doesn't care about white space. I'll just try to get more organized like this so that you can see what's happening inside my draw method. Right? Okay. So they're extremely similar, right? In fact, they're almost like identical. One difference is that one I call radius, the other one I call side. Now, public void draw, because the method has to specify the return value. When I keep talking and writing code, it's I may be making some mistakes. So I will comment this out as part of my thinking. Now, rectangle. In order to be able to implement rectangle and demonstrate what we just did discuss in as a question, how to redefine behavior, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to say interface demo, that's the name of my package, new class, and of course I will name it a rectangle. And I will finish that. So the new class is created for me. And you know how in one possibility would be. Now I always do this as well in my classes. I just feel a little rushed right now, so I would like to make sure that we finish this demonstration. But so bear with me. So this time, you know how we used to say that maybe there is a relationship here, that maybe a rectangle, I don't know why, but just for the sake of demonstration, maybe a rectangle is a, you know what, let me just say, is a, right? Because we discussed this concept. Is a type of square, right? But, so square is a rectangle, right? Or actually it's the opposite way. Square is a rectangle. Let's do it the opposite way. You know what? Let's do it the opposite way. Although, I wanted to demonstrate this. You know what? Without the stupid comment, I will just say extends square. Okay. It may not be a good analogy, but I will have something that extends, implements this idea of hierarchy. So basically what I'm trying to do here, if I create new class diagram real fast. So one class for me is square, right? And it has a side, public side, and it has draw, right? So okay, so that's one diagram. The second diagram is rectangle. For whatever reason, I'm deriving it. I don't feel like, so I don't know what the private attributes will be, but so I guess side 2 will be the second one, and then draw will also be part of it. Okay, so in order to be able to establish this relationship, inherits from, like this. In order to be able to do this, in the code, I am going to say extend square. And I suppose that the constructor here, I'm really getting myself in trouble by trying to incorporate this additional rectangle. So if it takes int side 1 and int side 2, I must actually call the superclass constructor and pass side 1 as side 1, right? And then implement private private int sd2, actually side 2, and right here say side 2 equals sd2. All right, we'll be able to actually revisit this when we are when we're talking next week, when we're talking about constructors. So these are constructors. I'm just trying to run this demonstration. So constructors and operations. Operations, of course, public void draw. Okay, another operation, and again I'm going to steal the implementation from any of these guys, and we'll just have a silly output statement that says rectangle sides are, right? Rectangle sides are, and this will be side, it's like side 1, side 1 plus side 2, but also separated perhaps with the space. But what needs to happen here is that I need to say get side, because remember side 1 is declared private in the square. This thing is private, so unfortunately I have to say public. My project keeps growing here. Public int get side, and this is on the square one, get side, and all I have to do is simply return side. Return side. Okay, so I can update side 1 through brand new public method get side, which I added to my square. At the bottom of my hierarchy, right here, 1 second, I'll bring up. So square now has get side, right, which returns an integer. Now the rectangle draw now is capable of saying right here inside the rectangle, the draw of the rectangle is capable of saying get side, which it can find in its square part, because remember rectangle is a square in my case, which is not very good, but I'm just trying to make up this analogy. And but the bottom line is that now the circle, the square, and rectangle in the main method should be able to attempt to draw themselves. Interesting. Okay. So what's this particular thing? Let me save it. Let me try to compile it. See what error. It seems to be unhappy about something. So let me quickly find out what's going on. Just like build project, find out if. Oh, build successful. So it was a nonsense concern from this particular source editor. So quickly, let's run this. Actually, let's save it.